Hello, welcome to day 3. I cannot even believe how far we have gone. We are in day 3 already. Wow. Okay, so I saw all your comments after you calculated your CRS score. Good job to you guys. It was nice to see you participate in the challenge and carry out your task. I see that a lot of us, our CRS scores fall below the minimum CRS cutoff, and I totally understand. I know I've been there before, so I know what it's like and I know what it feels like. But I was happy to see that we had somebody, I think it was just one person whose score was 478. I was really happy to see that somebody is taking the knowledge he used from this class and is going ahead to go into the Express and Triple. So that being said, again, I'll introduce myself for people that may be watching only this video. My name is Zeno, and I'm taking this challenge. I'm taking you guys on this challenge along with my very good friend, Dr. Linda. The two of us are going to take you on this, taking you on this 5-day challenge to see how we can help you provide clarity on your immigration to Canada journey. So today on day 3, we're going to be talking about how to improve your CRS score. And like I said before, a lot of us have CRS scores that have fallen short of the minimum cutoff. So now we're going to talk about the tips to improve your CRS score. So I'll just dive right in. So the first factor is age. The only reason why this slide is here is because I just wanted to remind us that the best time to immigrate was yesterday. However, we have lost yesterday, so the best time is now, right? Age cannot be changed. We cannot rewind our age. So whatever age, if we're in our 30s, we're in our 30s. We cannot rewind our age. But for those of us that are still in our 20s, between 20 and 29, I want to encourage us that if you are interested in immigrating, now is the time, because after you turn 30, you're going to lose 5 points. And by the time you're 45 years, you get 0 points. I know that there are some people that are really comfortable and they're like, yeah, you know, I don't want to relocate. I don't want to move. That's fair. And I totally understand that if you are doing very well, you have a very good job and you don't want to relocate. But what I advise people to do is that you can get this PR and not relocate immediately. Within the 3 years at which you are supposed to move here finally, within that time, a lot of people, their life changes. You don't know what could happen. So I usually tell people that just get it. If you continue to visit Canada, you're able to retain your PR status if you visit every year. But I tell people that even if you feel like you don't need it, just get it, because you don't know, life changes. You don't know when you're going to need it. When I talk about my story tomorrow, I'll tell you guys why I said this. So the most important part of improving your CRS score, or one factor that influences or affects most of the other factors, is your IELTS score. You'll be surprised to see that your IELTS scores affect the points you're able to get for your language and the points you're able to get for work experience. I'm very sorry, this slide is quite messy, but I just had to cut off these important points to paste here so that I'm able to explain this thing, and I want you to see it while I explain it. I believe you guys can see my cursor. So yesterday I talked about different CLB bands when it comes to Express and when it comes to IELTS. Remember I said IELTS General. So there's CLB band. Yesterday we talked about CLB band 9. For CLB band 9, looking at it, you get this. These are the points you get. You should aim to get 8 in listening and 7 in other skills. If you get CLB band 10, even better. If you get CLB band 10, you get the highest points for language here. Look at it, CLB band 10 or more, you get 32 points for language without a common law spouse, or with or without a common law spouse. You can see that there. But the target is CLB band 9 because it affects your educational factors. Now, looking at education, you can see the points for CLB band 7 or more. You see that the points for CLB band 7 is half the points if you get CLB band 9. So if you get CLB band 9 for your education, if you have a bachelor's degree, you get 50 points. While somebody that has a CLB band 7 will get 25 points. So one way to improve your scores is to improve your IELTS. By improving your IELTS, you see that you can get even up to additional 50 points. So improving your IELTS gives you up to additional 50 points. Let's look at the work experience. With the maximum of 3 years work experience, with CLB 7, you get a 25 points. With CLB 9, you get 50 points. So it is very important that for those of us that have written IELTS, I will encourage us to simulate this and see what would my scores be if I repeat the IELTS test. Assuming I get a band 9, right? You simulate it and see, does it improve your scores? Yes, if it does, you go to repeat the exam. Then for those of us that have not written the test, do the same thing. Do a CLB band 9 and see what your scores are, and prepare for the test to get a CLB band 9. So I've said before that a lot of people go in there to write the test without even preparing. Anybody can pass. Yeah, because you speak English, right? You'll be able to pass the test. And when you say pass the test, passing the test could be a CLB band 5, CLB band 6. But you're looking for a CLB band 9. It means that you need to perform exceptionally in that exam, right? So you want to practice and you want to prepare before you write the test. Don't go and waste your money repeating and repeating. Don't write it 10 times. Don't be like me. I wrote the test 3 times. Don't be like me. Write it once. Prepare and write it once. You can do this. You got this. So, to conclude this slide, overall, your target score should be CLB band 9, and that means that you should get 8 in listening and 7 in all the other skills. Moving on, you can also get additional work experience. So from the comments from us in the group, after calculating our scores, I could see that some people said they had 1 year experience, they have 2 years experience. Some people had less than 3 years experience. You get the maximum points for 3 years or more. So if you have 3 years or you have 10 years, you get the same number of work and the same points, right? It's up to a maximum of 3 years. But if you have less than 3 years, then you get lower points. So you want to maximize the points you can get for work experience. So what I would tell us to do, one reminder, a lot of us forget to include our NYSC experience. Your NYSC experience is valid. And I know that even if we're not paid much, some of us were paid peanuts, little money, it is still valid. You worked full time and you were paid a salary. Get that, add that, include your NYC experience. I know that some of us may not have included our NYC experience. If we include it, we'll see our points increase. So include your NYC experience. And then your work experience should also be within the last 10 years. I would like to state here that also this work experience you're including, you should ensure that there is NOC code for it. And talking about NOC code, I observed that some people today messaged me saying that, yeah, they found their NOC title, but the job description under the NOC title doesn't match what they do, right? And a lot of people have gotten to the stage where they were refused permanent residency because of that. So what I tell people to do is I don't just look out for the job title, look out for the job description as well. If the job title and the job title you find doesn't match your job description, look for something that the job description matches and you can choose that job title instead, because what they look out for is your job description. So look for it and then you can choose that job description instead. So then there are other ways you can get points as well from provincial nomination. I know that there are some provinces that I don't really like to speak to this because I don't have as much information on provincial nomination that I feel is sufficient for me to dish out here. But I know that the province of Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and recently I sent out to some of my followers on Instagram, I sent them Yukon provincial nomination as well. So these are things that you want to look at this, but I know that provincial nomination is difficult and it takes time. Then French language test. So if you are bilingual, you speak English, you speak French, you can get additional points from taking the French language test. So you may want to consider that. I've heard some cases of people that intentionally go to French school to learn to learn French just to take the test. So that's another opportunity for you. Arrange employment in Canada. This means that you get a job in Canada. This is another Herculean task. It is difficult too. So getting a job in Canada is another problem. We know that, yeah, it's almost impossible. Then there are other pilot programs, like somebody asked me about the childcare program, child caregiver program. I know that there are other pilot programs, but I am not knowledgeable in those areas and I don't want to provide information that I am not sure of. So if it's something that you want to do to get more points, you want to go look into it and see what the requirements are to see if you qualify. So then moving on, we'll talk about the spouse factors. So I would like to say this, that some people, I've heard some people say that they want to get married just because of provincial, just because of express entry. Now, this is not fake marriage, real marriage. So they want to marry somebody in Nigeria so that they and their spouse will come together and put their points together to improve their scores. While that could possibly improve your scores, it only improves your score if your spouse, if already you as a single person, your points are not high enough. If you have a spouse that is at the same educational level as you, in most cases, it is most likely that the scores will still not be high enough. Because comparing a single person with somebody that has a spouse, you see that with spouse factors, your points are lower than when you are single. Looking at this image that I have here, see with a spouse or common law partner and without a spouse or common law partner, if you see the bachelor's degree, while the person with a spouse gets 112 points, the person without a spouse gets 120 points. Yeah. So if you are getting married because you want to come together with somebody to put your points together, you have to make sure that you look into that that person's skills and qualification and experience to see that it is suitable, that when you guys come together as one couple to put in an application together, then your points will increase. Another thing I like to tell people is that for those that are married, you need to look into, between you and your spouse, who has more qualification and more experience for us to get the best out of these points. So like, I've heard some cases where some men say, no, they must be the principal applicant because they are the head of the family. Bros, nobody is dragging your headship with you. But in cases like this, you need to look at what is best to achieve your goal. So who is going to be the principal applicant? For instance, if a wife has PhD and the husband has only master's degree, it only makes sense for the wife that has a PhD to be the principal applicant because she's going to earn their family more points, right? So if you have a spouse, that's one thing. Look at your spouse, look at your educational qualification, your work experience, your age. Check all these factors and see who should be the principal applicant. The person that's with the best qualification should be the principal applicant. Then again, I saw a comment from a lady that said that, yeah, her points are currently 434, but her husband is not interested in immigrating, so he has refused to do any of these evaluation or language tests. So it is important that for you to get additional points, so first of all, having a spouse first has reduced your points compared to having compared to if you were single. But then again, another thing you can do is that if your spouse gets a language test and gets a certificate evaluated, then you can earn the following points below. So if your spouse has English test, language test, you can earn an extra 20 points, or based on his level of education, you can earn an extra 10 points. So you earn extra points, you can earn extra points for your spouse. And for that lady that said that her husband is not interested in immigrating, I had a friend who at that time, her husband wasn't interested in immigrating. So she put in the application by herself. So if you say that you have a spouse, but your spouse is not coming with you to Canada, then you're going to be evaluated, or your points will be calculated as if you were a single person. So in the case of my friend, what she did at that time is that she said that her spouse was not coming with her. So she got the points as if she was single. She got the permanent residency. At the time she got the PR, the husband was ready to move at that time. So she landed here and then she sponsored the husband. So she now applied for the husband. The husband did not have to do all this language test or language proficiency or any of all those things. So all she had to do was to sponsor the husband from here, where she was a permanent resident. So for that lady that said that her husband is not interested, that is something that you may consider doing, right? And then, so like I said before, your spouse has to do the certificate evaluation and do the spouse language test for this family to get more points. Then again, another way that we can get extra points is by getting additional degree in our home country. So if you have a bachelor's degree, you may want to upgrade to get a master's degree. If you have a master's degree, you may want to upgrade to get a PhD. Then for those of us that have dual degrees, OND and bachelor's, you get more points because you have 2 degrees now. So OND bachelor's, HND bachelor's, you are able to combine your degrees to give you higher points. But the only challenge with this, even though it seems interesting, the only challenge with this is that with school, it is 1 year. School is going to cost you an additional 1 year. And remember that we talked about time and the age factor. So especially if you're in a country like Nigeria where there are strikes and you don't even know how, if your 1 year is going to be 1 year, right? So let's assume that you're doing a 1 year master's program. So you don't know if your 1 year is going to be 1 year. It could be more. So 1 year plus X. In 1 year plus X, you add your current age plus 1 year plus X. So your age has increased. So that's another thing, that even though that additional degree will give you, will improve your scores, but your age has increased. So for instance, going from a bachelor's to a master's degree in your home country will give you an additional 30 points, right? Subtract 5 points from that, so that's 20, you subtract 5 points, so it gives you 25 points. So let's assume that your scores were 420, for instance, already. You're already at 420. You get a master's degree 1 year and you lose 5 points, so you have an extra 25 points, so you're at 445. It is still lower. So looking at all these things, all these factors, we know that even if we put all these factors together, there are some of us that still would not qualify. And yes, it is not our fault, because maybe we did not get this information early, or we're not ready early. And now really the points have gone up. They are now, it's now very high. In 2018, when I was in the express entry pool, I had points of 439. I couldn't get an invitation because it was really low. So I think the last time they had the lowest point was in 2018, where it was 441. Okay, anyways, yeah, so I'll move on. So I've done a sample calculation again. You remember our friend Amanda that we used to do the calculation yesterday, right? So today I've tweaked Amanda's situation just to see how the change in, how using these tips that I've provided helps Amanda to improve her CRS score. So yesterday, based on the scenario of yesterday, I call this case 1. We said that Amanda was single, 35 years of age. She has 3 years of work experience outside of Canada. She has a bachelor's degree and she has a CLB band 9. Based on these factors, I calculated this and I got a CRS score of 396. 396 CRS score is not that bad, but compared to, considering the current CRS cutoff scores, Amanda doesn't qualify. So I now assume that, okay, Amanda spent 1 year, Amanda got a master's degree, right? So because Amanda spent 1 year getting a master's degree, Amanda's age increased. So Amanda became 36 years old. Amanda is still single and not married. She still has a work experience. So now let's say Amanda has 4 years work experience. But like I said, if you have 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, you get the same points. So I left it at that. Then now Amanda has a master's degree and she still has a CLB band 9 English test. Based on that, I calculated again, and now Amanda's score has improved to 431. But then again, Amanda is still below the cutoff. Then I moved to case 3. Let's assume that Amanda got married. Amanda is 35 years old. She still has the work experience. So the factor that has changed now is that she got married, and her spouse, Amanda's husband, has a bachelor's degree. He has a CLB band 9 English test. I use the best scenarios. And then Amanda's spouse has a 3 years work experience. Using this again, I calculated and Amanda's score was 440. Oh, Amanda is exhausted. She's like, wow, help me, help. I still cannot read the CRS cutoffs. I'm drowning in the express entry pool. Yes, I understand Amanda's problem. And there are so many Amandas in this group. There are so many of us that are like this, that are like Amanda in this group. And you are not alone. There are lots of people like you. You are not alone. I was once there. So I understand how you feel. I understand how difficult it is for you to try to, looking at everything and you're trying and you feel like nothing seems to be working, right? And that is why I'm here. I want to see how I can support you and how I can encourage you to keep going, right? And to provide you with the resources that you need. So, sorry about that. So in the next, tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about something very important. I know that this is what we have all been waiting for. I see some people commenting, yes, I want to know the program that age doesn't affect. So there's a program that age does not affect. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you qualify for that program. And because I know that even putting all of these tips together, some people's scores will still not improve, right? And with the education factor, it takes some time to get it, and you are still not able to get to improve your scores. Yes, there's another route to immigrate to Canada if you fall in this category. So now you have checked, you have tried to simulate, check, increase, improve everything that you can improve within your power, and you still do not qualify. Stay tuned. When I come tomorrow, I'm going to be sharing with you the route that you can take to immigrate to Canada, as that your age and your present express entry situations will not affect you. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and sure you tune in tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day that we have been looking for. We have just been preparing for tomorrow so that we'll understand. I just wanted to make us understand. I couldn't just jump into the tomorrow's class because we need to learn, understand, calculate, see where we are. So right now we've been able to throw out some people from this group by making them see that, yeah, they qualify, they can go into the pool, right? But there are some of us that we can't, we just don't qualify no matter what happens. And it's because of us that we created this group, because of us we created this challenge. So yes, so stay tuned, tune in tomorrow, and I'll be sharing that with you. But in the meantime, for our task for today, I want us to go into the, I want us to try to tweak based on the tips that I've shared today. Whatever you think is obtainable or is applicable to you, anything that you feel you can get, try, simulate it and see, calculate what your score is. Is it going to improve? If you're going to improve over 470, it makes sense. Begin to work on it, right? Begin to work on that thing. If it's to get an additional degree, whatever it is. But remember, when you're adding an additional degree, calculate the time for that and increase your age by that factor, right? So yes, so do that, simulate it, calculate it, and let me see what your scores are. So when you do that in the comments, you come and tell me what tell me your old score, your new score, and what factors you changed. I would really, really like to see that. I want to see how many people were able to push out again into the express entry pool based on that. So please do that and let me know. And then tune in tomorrow where I'll be sharing the factors where I'll be sharing what else you can do, the other route to immigrate to Canada. Also, I'm going to be attaching a link where you can understand the criteria for CRS, comprehensive ranking system. It's good that you understand this thing so that even when you are trying to tweak your situation, you know what you are doing, right? Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be hot. Tomorrow is the main day. It's going to be hot. That's what I'll be sharing. All right, and remember to join us at 8 p.m. for the live session. I'll be happy to take all your questions at that time. Have a good day. Bye.